Oh man, and we are here talking about the Oblivion Remaster today. And, well, I'm just going to put my thoughts out on it. I absolutely love it. I adore it. So, for context, I've never really gotten to the original Oblivion. I have about around maybe 20-ish hours into it, and it didn't feel right when I was playing it. Now, this could be because grew up a lot on Skyrim and played a lot of Skyrim, and going backwards to a prequel in a game usually makes you want to appreciate it, like going from Dark Souls 3 to Dark Souls 2. But when I played the original Oblivion, like, don't get me wrong, it wasn't bad. It didn't feel right to me. It just felt awkward, clunky. It was funny as well. You get to the Shivering Isles, you see all the magistical stuff over there in that DLC. You go to the original towns in Oblivion. Like I said, you can tell I don't really play Oblivion that much because I don't know what anything's called. You tell me what towns there are in Skyrim, I instantly know what you're talking about. But like I said, I never really got into it. But the remaster has brought that old quirk back, in my opinion, and I really love it. It feels a little bit jank, but it feels like it's polished jank. It's not exactly. It's weird to describe, but it feels great, even if it's still a little bit jank. It has those old quirks that Oblivion, had that people made fun of a lot. Like, stop right there, Imperial scum. Whoa. Like when you're in the middle of a battle and they decide to arrest you, then it's just everything stops as they zoom into the head. That they keep that sort of stuff, and that is funny. I haven't done any of the glitches myself, but I think that a lot of the glitches and stuff has been kept in as well. And it's very interesting to see, this old Elder Scrolls game being, almost 20 years old now, being ported into an Unreal 5 engine. Just basically being updated, polished, added a little bit of extra content, and kind of just reworked everything. It feels great to play, and it looks amazing to play. Now, yes, this game is buggy still. What do we expect? I mean, even though I don't think that games should be buggy when you launch them, I feel like they should be, majorly just fixed so you don't have a painful experience playing the game. I already had 2 bugs in the intro. So when you get to the prison scene, right? Like, you're in the prison scene, you're waiting around for them to open the door. I just had an instance where the Emperor and the 2 guards just stood and stared at me through the door. They didn't even open it. And then, so after that, I reloaded my save. They opened the door, they walked towards me, then they all just stared at me. Instead of the Emperor going, "Yeah, it's you. You're the one from my dreams." They just all stared at me with no dialogue. So, I had to reload twice then for the game to properly get rolling along. But, it's just funny quirks and bugs. Like I said, I think they should be fixed. But like Cyberpunk, they're funny while they're there. So, I've noticed that a lot of people are complaining about not getting the game for free when owning the original Oblivion, which it makes me so confused to look at that sort of opinion, I guess we could call it that, because it's basically its own new game, and I don't know why people basically want to, they feel like they're entitled to get a new upgrade, if you want to call it like that, basically a new game, a new remaster, a new remake of a thing that they already have. Okay, that sounds really bad when I put it like that, but basically it's its own game of a similar game. I am not explaining this well, Jesus Christ. I've been back and forth a lot today with opinions. Ooh. But, it's just really interesting to me how people feel like, just because they have the original, they deserve the $80 remake, remaster, whatever you want to call it. Like I've said before, it feels like it's a different game. It feels like it's an entirely different game with a similar feel to the original. That feels like it's more appealing to mainstream people like myself. Like I said, I didn't get into the original Oblivion that much. 20 hours, just didn't really strike my appeal too much. But the remake, remaster, whatever you want to call it, looks gorgeous, plays alright, still has that old sort of quirky sort of thing that Oblivion has, that the original has, that I can appreciate. I will say this as well, the Steam trading cards, Jesus Christ, they are absolutely wild. I almost made like $4 Australian from the 5 cards that I already received. That stuff is absolutely wild, and I don't get why they're so expensive. to be honest. But I've also seen a lot of people talk about they want to remaster Morrowind, and God, if they do, please just make it play better. Like I have played, like I'm going to check this right now. I have Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind. I have about 65 minutes in Morrowind, and I have not touched a thing ever since. it plays so arse with the dice rolling combat system. But yeah, that's going to be a different. That's not this exactly this topic of Oblivion right now, is it? But people are saying remake it, and if they do remake it, well, I really hope that they just completely change it. Basically do what they did with the Oblivion remake and just make it a cross between Oblivion and Skyrim with how the level up system works. Which, by the way, I don't mind that actually. I miss kind of choosing perks. I miss that a little bit, I will admit, but it feels alright. You basically have to do the thing to level up better in it. But yeah, I don't know. Honestly, overall, I remember just seeing the trailer and the release date for the Oblivion remake, and I'm like, oh, I gotta get it. And, I'm not usually impressed. I'm not easily impressed with video games. I think a lot of them these days are just garbage. I'm not going to name any games, because that could be their own little videos. Baldur's Gate 3. But I feel like Oblivion is a game that I'm really going to enjoy, or at least the remake I'm going to enjoy a lot more. And I'm going to have a lot of fun. I'm going to go back to playing it now. Yeah.